Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unlikely. And the smile on my face is because a returning guest is back for the first time in, I believe, over 2 years. Big Bronson Reed is here, our tribal thief. But not only that, it is officially WWE 2K26 season. And special thanks to WWE 2K for making this conversation happen. So, Bronson, I'm making this interview very gaming themed, and I want to start right there because over the past decade, and honestly, more than the past decade, if you really look at it, when we hear stories as fans about backstage, there's been a transition where it's like more likely that a crew of people backstage will break into a WWE 2K tournament than go out to a bar and do stuff like that. And we've seen AJ Styles' gaming setup on airplanes, Xavier Woods, the Twitch channels that superstars have. With all that being said, how big is gaming backstage?
I think, it has been a big shift in the culture. I think a lot of people bring their own gaming setups on the road with them. I myself just got a Switch 2, so I have that. I'm a big Donkey Kong guy, so I'm not the biggest modern day gaming fan. I'm a big gaming fan of the 90s, so anything that gets re-released in that sort of theme, that's what I play. But yeah, you definitely see a lot of the boys backstage, whether they have their PCs or they have something with them like a console, then it's a very regular thing nowadays.
No, it's dope. And also, 2K on the Switch 2 is absolutely incredible. My son loves it. And I do want to congratulate you because, look, I have no, spoiler alert, I have no knowledge of if it's going to be in 2K26. I do know at some point the ability to take someone's shoes off an opponent and use that on your create a customer and have that around your neck, that will happen. And that's thanks to you. And that's very, very special. And I can
Thank you.
imagine it's a special feeling seeing yourself in a video game. So can you take me back to the first time you saw yourself in a video game?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think, us as superstars, a lot of us are longtime fans of pro wrestling. Like I've been a fan my whole life of pro wrestling and I've watched my whole life. And when I started wrestling, obviously my dream was to get to WWE. And then once I got into WWE, I had two bucket list things that I definitely wanted. And one was an action figure and the other was to be in a video game. And I think most of the talent are along the same lines. So when I first saw myself in a video game, it was sort of surreal. You know what I mean? It's weird to play as yourself in a video game, but it's also really cool. Like I had a friend that I haven't spoken to in maybe 10 or plus years from high school, and he messaged me and he said that his son was playing 2K25, and then he looked up and realized it was me that he was playing with. So it's it's sort of surreal at times.
Nah, dude, that's a beautiful thing. And I also love the fact that this year's game is going to feature over 400 playable characters. So I want to switch up the age-old question that you get 1,000 times during these interviews. I'm going to ask you about a Mount Rushmore, but it's not about the greatest wrestlers ever. I want a Mount Rushmore out of these 400 people that are going to be in the game that you want a Tsunami.
Well, let's see. I mean, and it's not going to be because I want a Tsunami them per se. It's because I would have loved to wrestle them for sure.
Way
Uh,
to make it sound honorable, like a
yeah,
noble
exactly.
thing.
It's a noble thing, yeah.
Out of
And
love.
of course, once they get the Tsunami, it's 1, 2, 3, and you win in the video game. That's how it always should be because no one's ever kicked out of it. So if that happens in the video game, that's something new as well. Andre the Giant is definitely up there, top of the
Mm,
list. Um, I believe is in there. Bam Bam Bigelow is something
yes.
I'm a huge fan of, and I think if we were ever to have that dream match, which you can do now in 2K26, that's going to be one. Dusty Rhodes, not so much his son. He's already had the Tsunami a few times, but Dusty Rhodes for sure. And why not for the King of Kings editions? Why not give Triple H a Tsunami as well? Hopefully he doesn't hear this interview because he is my boss.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, the paychecks will still clear. And so I love getting this Mount Rushmore because now I can kind of feel for this next question, the
Yeah.
way that you go. Because another great feature of getting to play this game is any dream match possible with any stipulation you can do.
Yes.
For you, I don't even like you can give me an opponent, but I'm more interested like in your mind if you have the pen your dream match scenario, meaning are you going meaty man match? Are you going a cat mouse match where it's like you and Rey Mysterio and that's kind of the story being told in the match? In your dream match, what would it look like?
So I actually think both ways. So whenever anyone asks me about my all-time dream matches, I always give them two because I think I work so well with a smaller opponent, but I also do work so well with another meaty opponent. So like I said before, Bam Bam Bigelow for sure. I'd have a Bam Bam Bigelow street fight as well, ECW sort of style. Bronson Reed versus Bam Bam Bigelow. That's what you would want to see. But then on the other hand, I've always thought it would be cool to have Bronson Reed versus Shawn Michaels. That's one that I would always want to see. And if he hits the sweet chin music, so be it.
You got good wrestling taste, good music taste. I like your style, Bronson
I
Reed, and
try.
yeah, I like it. And another big thing with this year is CM Punk's showcase, and a portion of it is what if moments, what if possibilities for his career. And I want to take it to you because obviously you had an injury as you were ascending,
Yeah.
and the rumors were you were going to face Seth Rollins for the heavyweight championship. And good, great to say that things have worked out well post
Yeah.
that injury. But in your mind, is there always going to be a, well, what if? Well, what if I would have had the strap? And I know that it's worked out and it is working out now. Kind of your mindset and looking back at that moment in your life and your career.
Yeah, of course. There's you always have those what ifs, like, and I feel like our journey as WWE superstars in wrestling, like things just happen so differently that you never know what's going to happen. There was a point in time when I was gone from WWE and wrestling back in Japan, and it was my goal to get back here, and it happened. And I always think about those what ifs. And of course, me versus Seth Rollins was going to be something big. It was going to be in Australia for the championship, and it would have been something special for sure. But then I think things sort of happened for a reason. And then a whole year later, I returned to Australia and went against Roman Reigns and beat Roman Reigns in my home country. So things worked out in the end.
How did you, in your mind, from what I've told in previous interviews you've done, your decision on how it's going to work out? I know Triple H had said, "Hey, you just recover. When you come back, things are going to be good. You're going to be good." But knowing that you were joining the Vision and teaming up with Heyman and Breaker, you had known like within that week, within those 2 days, correct?
Yeah, correct. It was a very last second thing that I had found out about.
How do
But
you process that? Is my question.
yeah, yeah,
Of
yeah. Yeah, I mean, instantly, as soon as I've always had a big fandom for Paul Heyman before I was even
course.
in WWE. I was a huge ECW fan growing up, so that was sort of my bread and butter. And then when I got to WWE, behind the scenes, Mr. Heyman's always been really cool with me, and he's helped me with like promos and stuff. So it was sort of fitting once I found out that no, he's actually going to be your manager on screen as well. I was like, okay, this marriage works perfectly. I always wanted to work with Paul Heyman, but I did not expect Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. So to have those things happen is great. Me and Seth are great opponents. We ended up being good teammates, but now he's back on the opposite side. We kicked him out of the group, and I think the biggest thing from that group is just that me and Bron Breakker have had such a tight friendship now from being on the road for these past 6 months together that I did never would have expected until now that, I'm not only working, but I'm pretty pretty much best friends with Rick Steiner's kid.
Yo, that's crazy. Great way to put it. I want to close it out with two final questions. This year's game, there's a lot of stipulations, a lot of things that they can do, and they can even recreate something that you've gotten to do, which
Yeah.
is take a bump as a ring explodes. Can you explain to me the difference of a regular bump and feeling that when the ring exploded?
It honestly, it's sort of indescribable. And I know, like, I think I'm only a handful of people that have ever done it. It's myself,
It's less
Bronson,
than 10.
yeah, yeah. Big Show, Brock Lesnar, I,
Henry,
Mark Henry, yeah. And I'm not sure there might be one other person I can think of.
Show, you said Big Show,
That
right?
says Big
And
Show, yeah.
Strawn, and that's maybe
I
it.
think that might be it. It might be the five of us. So I love that I'm a part of wrestling history and that like I was able to do that. But honestly, it's chaos. You're already taking this huge, crazy bump off the top rope. We did a superplex. We're both huge, and then the ring collapse. And I've never felt a ring collapse until it happens in the moment. So it's really cool that that's in the video game as well.
Last question. This photo is iconic. I hope you can see it with the glare. That's you and
Oh,
Dom looking like
yeah.
Suge Knight and Pac. Can you just really quick, as let me close this out properly and do this right. Can you explain the relationship with Dom?
Yeah, of course. I think we roll in different crews. His Judgment Day, I'm the Vision. But behind the scenes, we've always been close friends, and that was just after a show in LA, I believe. and we're driving through traffic, got stopped at a red light, and there just happened to be a lot of fans around us. So then they started snapping pictures. But yeah, he's always someone that I've gotten along with, and we've been road buddies now for the last 3 years.
Yeah, the fact that it happened in LA just makes it sweeter. And with WWE 2K26, you can put the Judgment Day and the Vision together and do
Yeah.
whatever your heart desires. Bronson, thank you so much for the time, my friend.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.